Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Kiran Chereddi. Kiran Chereddi is currently the Managing Director of HRV Global Life Sciences, India, and CEO at New Horizon Global GmbH, Switzerland. Hari was part of the Forbes Global CEO list in 2010, and Hari has served on several prestigious industry bodies, including the prestigious Columbia Law School Task Force to promote U.S.-India clean energy investments, CII, Bureau of Indian Standards, Bureau of Energy Efficiency, and Hyderabad Angels. Hari is also an angel investor and mentor. In addition to being consummate senior executive, he has authored over 50 professional articles and delivered over 50 speeches at various professional forums around the world. His career reflects the success in the corporate world and entrepreneurship coupled with the best of breed academics. Hari is a computer science engineer from India and has an MBA in supply chain and finance from the US. As a professional badminton player, Hari represented India with over 25 international tournaments in the men's doubles circuit with a career best BWF World Tour ranking of 56. Well, good afternoon, Hari. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Brian.
You're very welcome. I really love doing this, and I appreciate you making the time. Hailing out of India at the moment. So we're doing an international podcast. I love these. Probably my favorite. Get to traverse the globe. Really fun stuff. So again, Hari, I appreciate that. And we're going to jump right into your first question here. Hari, you left a senior role at Bank of America to embark on an entrepreneurial path, founding Sujana Energy and later leading HRV Global Life Sciences. What drove you to leave the corporate world, and how did your experience at Bank of America shape your approach to entrepreneurship?
That's a whole lot packed into one question. Thank you, Brian. I'll try to do my best. Leaving my senior role at Bank of America was driven by a desire to create something that was personally fulfilling and even impactful. At Bank of America, I was leading business operations, which gave me a lot of insight into leadership, large-scale operations, and financial management. While it was rewarding, I felt a growing need to step outside the corporate world and pursue innovative business models that could really drive change in key sectors across the world. That's when I actually chose energy to start. The transition to founding Sujana Energy was fueled by my belief that renewable energy's potential and the desire to pioneer industry-defining innovations in the renewable energy space. I leveraged strategic, financial, and operational skills that I had gained at Bank of America to quickly build one of India's top 10 clean energy companies. And then my corporate experience came in handy a lot of times when it helped me evaluate risks, manage teams efficiently, and also drive execution. But entrepreneurship did add a completely new layer, which is about resilience, adaptability, and willingness to challenge the status quo. Now, I was not very happy with being in only one business. That's when I actually sold this company. And that's when I thought there's a great potential in creating a company in pharmaceuticals. And I actually did manufacturing company in generic drugs. And then I sold this company a few years ago to a large industry corporation. And when I sold this, I was thinking that, everyone who's doing generic manufacturing in India looked at business models only one way. That's when I actually started my latest avatar, which is a company called HRV Global Life Sciences. HRV stands for RX for human and veterinary. So that's the reason why the word 3 letters H, R, and V. So my corporate background in operations and building these companies helped me scale to creating one of India's first virtual active pharmaceutical ingredient company. And in a span of 6 years, we got into a $75 million in sales, where we actually created a completely innovative business model. And we've been leading the pack with market expansion, doing niche novel molecules, some orphan drugs, and assured supplies with deep customer relationships. So today, I would say that this has only helped me shift to entrepreneurship. Bank of America paved the way to actually create a very high level of structured thinking and coupled with creativity and hands-on leadership needed to build this business. So the journey one has only been enriching by, having created these companies, and also now my latest newfound passion of mentoring startups contributing to academic research and also participating in international leadership communities. So all in all, it's been a great transition. And when I look back at a little over 24 years of my career spanning both corporate and entrepreneurship, it's been more rewarding than the best I could ask for.
That's amazing. And thank you for giving us that background and your journey from working in corporate world over to entrepreneurship. And obviously you've been very innovative in the energy sector and then of course in pharmaceutical. So I appreciate that. And Hari, as a professional badminton player who has represented India in over 25 international tournaments, how have your experiences in sports influenced your approach to business, leadership, and decision-making?
Badminton's been a very important part of my both physical and mental journey. And in fact, it has instilled discipline, hard work, and perseverance, one. And number two, training for international tournaments and especially representing a country like India, which has over 1 billion people. It does actually bring in a lot of competitive landscape in play. And one of the greatest things that I have learned is how to focus under pressure, how to be resilient in the face of setbacks, and how is it that you do consistent effort. These qualities are just as essential in business. And you face market challenges, competition, unexpected obstacles in both arenas. One of the things that you do is that you keep pushing forward with a clear strategy that eventually leads to success. Now, even though badminton is an individual sport, playing men's doubles at the international level required synergy with a partner. Businesses, much like doubles, is all about working well with your team, trusting them and aligning them to common goals. Now, leading these organizations, I've actually realized that building and empowering a strong team is essential to drive any large-scale initiative. And with that said, competitive spirit in sports has shaped my mind for making decisions. In a badminton match, you really need to think quickly. And especially in the world's fastest sport, which is badminton, you really have very, very little time to adapt to your opponent's strategy, take calculated risks. Similarly, in business, being able to assess a situation, think on your feet, and make informed decisions. So most of the times under pressure, they're going to be very, very crucial. So for me, mistakes in business might be different, but the underlying mental approach to navigating some of these, challenges and optimizing performance is very similar to what I've experienced on the badminton court. So all these lessons from sport, which is resilience, teamwork, adaptability, and strategic, mindset, have only been very, very invaluable as I've led these multiple businesses across global markets. So I'm personally very, very thankful, for having, that sport as part of my journey. It has been more rewarding than what I could ask for.
Thank you. And I love that story. We've had some professional athletes and various people that have been on the podcast to talk about very similar stories. And I appreciate that, your resilience and perseverance. And of course, that translates from, the badminton court over to business world. So I appreciate the story. I really, really do. Hari, HRV Global Sciences has become a leader in helping Indian pharmaceutical companies expand into opaque markets worldwide, including Europe. Could you share the strategic vision behind HRV and what sets it apart from other market expansion firms in the life sciences sector?
Sure. Strategic vision, when we started out was to help companies address markets which were relatively opaque and complex, especially within Europe, Middle East, and then, Latin America. Most people did have access to countries like America and, other easier or regulatory frameworks were very well defined. If you would see, India has a strong active pharmaceutical ingredient manufacturing base or the bulk drug manufacturing base. One of the biggest challenges that we've always seen is that utilizing vast unused capacities and also navigating regulatory frameworks, ensuring compliance, establishing reliable distribution networks in foreign markets presented significant hurdles. So what we did when we came in was that we actually bridged this gap by offering a unique market expansion model. As a virtual API company, we were able to operate with a lean capital-light structure, focusing on strategic partnerships rather than large-scale manufacturing infrastructure, which is already existing in India. So this allowed us to remain agile, scalable, and highly responsive to the needs of our clients. We help companies overcome entry barriers, establish strong distribution channels, and ensure regulatory compliance, especially with markets which are traditionally being, difficult to penetrate. So we have teams in 7 different countries across the world, including United States, Europe, Middle East, and even in Turkey. With that said, we have on-the-ground experience with navigating local regulations and building strategic relationships. So the advantage for us has been that we have actually helped focus both on sustainability and on digital transformation, which help our clients remain competitive in both the developed and the developing markets. So we've not only helped companies look at new technologies, we also help to bring our strategic vision to combine them with innovative business models with deep understanding of global market dynamics, thereby helping Indian companies to actually access international growth and international markets, which they did not see before. And for us, in summary, if I were to look at it, I'd say our largest competitive advantage is that we are a great platform for API companies to actually go expand themselves to the world. And number 2, try and use their unused capacities, which we underwrite from these companies, to have a long-term patient-centric entrepreneurial journey. That's been a very interesting and close to our heart vision for a long, long time. And then this has only become more and more stronger as years went by. That's how I'd put it as Brian.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I like how you are in the heart of the business. And I know that you're really close to some of that operations, but having feet on the ground in those countries and those regions to have a better pulse on the heartbeat, whether it's, the local community, regulatory, whatever it is, I appreciate that. Hari, given your extensive experience in the pharmaceutical and life sciences industries, what emerging trends or innovations do you foresee having the most significant impact on the global pharmaceutical landscape over the next 10 years?
That's a big landscape to cover. What's been personally things that I've been watching, I'd summarize it into 4 major trends, probably the next decade, if not a little longer, when you look at some of these things. One of the things that I should say, which I'm sure you've heard about, in various places and people talking about, is about gene therapy and about personalized medicine. One of the most transformative shifts in pharmaceutical industry is the move towards personalized medicine, where treatments are tailored to individual genetic profile. With the advances in gene therapy and genomics, we are opening therapies to target the root causes of diseases, particularly in areas like oncology, rare diseases, and autoimmune conditions. So if you see, most of our drug focus has also been in rare diseases and in orphan drugs. For example, technologies like CRISPR that we've been talking about, where next generation sequencing and gene interventions are being talked about, we are offering hope or potentially looking at cure for untreatable conditions earlier. Over the next decade, personalized medicine will become mainstream. I'm very, very confident that this will actually drive the era for precision healthcare across the world. With that said, I quickly move on to the second part, which is something that we're personally doing a lot of research in, which is in the area of antibody drug conjugates. We call them ADCs, which are, for example, breakthrough in targeted cancer therapies by combining targeted capabilities of the antibodies with cancer killing power of chemotherapy. So ADCs precisely attack cancer cells while minimizing damage to any other healthy tissues. This is a major leap in oncology treatment, and over the next decade, we'll actually see a big rise of ADCs. As ADCs progress, they're actually going to become biologics, where their large-scale complex molecules derived from living cells will actually come into play a big role. And companies excelling in the development and scaling of biologics and biosimilars will definitely have a competitive edge over the others in the market. Now, how could I not say this, as I move forward, is the most talked about acronym of late, which is artificial intelligence, or AI, and machine learning. So we're actually talking about how AI and ML can actually be integrated into the pharmaceutical industry by revolutionizing how drugs are discovered, developed, and thereby brought to market. Now, I don't know if I can say this, but over the next few years, I would not say a decade, AI-driven solutions will actually be at the heart of drug development before we find the next big thing around that. So I am going to say that, AI and ML probably will not even need a decade for them to take over. One of the other big parts, which is something that is very close to my heart, is that we are talking about how some of these manufacturing setups have to keep sustainability as the critical focus and as the critical core of their manufacturing footprint, where we talk about adopting green chemistry principles, and we talk about minimizing carbon footprint. We talk about ensuring environmentally responsible supply chains. So the shift towards sustainability will not only reduce environmental impact, but will also improve the resilience of supply chain. Case in point, as we have witnessed during COVID-19, the amount of disruptions we had in supply chain resilience. Now, over the next few years, all of us in the pharmaceutical space are looking at how to bring green manufacturing processes, sustainable practices, and probably make them a regular norm. So with these said, the four pillars are these four pillars that I spoke to you about, which is personalized medicine, ADCs and biologics, digital innovation or artificial intelligence, and sustainability will be the four pillars that will shape how companies operate, develop new therapies, and meet demands of patients and regulatory agencies across the world. With that said, I'd say we are extremely well poised with these trends, and we're helping our clients succeed in this rapidly evolving environment, in the pharmaceutical industry. But that's how I'd summarize it with the four headers that I'm looking at.
Thank you, Hari. I appreciate that. And you highlighted several new technologies, stuff we haven't necessarily not heard before, but there's certainly going to be some leapfrogging in some of this technology, as you know, with the explosion of AI and ML in the last couple of years has been really a game changer. But I really do like you highlighting some of that stuff in the life sciences space. I think it's really important that we can improve the lives of people around the world. So thank you. And Hari, it was such a pleasure having you on today, and I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Likewise, Brian. Thank you for having me on your podcast. It was really a pleasure. Thank you.
Bye for now.